remember, this is 1989, I'm thinking of designing the web. 20 years before, 1969, Bitsurf, the company, had designed the IP, it's their protocol on TCP/IP. So the protocol stack we already had. We had IPv4, we didn't have IPv6 back then. But we had it running over all kinds of things on all levels of the stack. So when I was designing the web, we already had TCP/IP. We had a TCP protection from one computer to another across the whole world. And we had the main name system, which for better or worse, I decided to use it. So when all my design was to put these together, the UI would start with a scheme. I wanted the web to be very flexible, not fast for just grabbing something across the net. And so I designed it. And then when you got the thing across the net, I wanted a really simple hypertext markup language. I designed all these things to look familiar to the people I was working with. There's certain people, their documentation typically, it would be in HTML format, standardized markup language, which would have things like each in one particular document type they had, you had H1 in angle brackets was for header. So I thought, okay, I will make HTML will look like the certain document type. So the HTML looked like a certain document type, HTTP looked like SMTP and NTP, the existing protocols, network transfer protocols, and so on, which already exist. Then, but the web pages, static web pages are limited in what you can do with them. So along comes Web 2.0, we get JavaScript running in browsers, which you know very well, you get the web APIs, and so now the technology in a web page is more powerful, and then all kinds of things. The Web 2.0 platforms explode across the world, and people imagine that there's a lot more value being generated. But this is by an Economist cartoon at the time. But people noticed actually the problem was each of these things was a silo to itself. If you've got your photos in Flickr and you want to share them with your friends are on Facebook, your colleagues are on LinkedIn. And so you want to share Flickr photos with LinkedIn colleagues and Facebook friends. And you can't. And you still can't. But still everybody's on Facebook. But so everybody's living with this issue that it's pain. That these data silos, because there's no interoperability between the social networks, is that we're not as powerful as human beings as we should be. So, time for the next layer. That was so JavaScript gave us the ability to have the way JavaScript worked with the back end, worked with the fact that Facebook only stores data on Facebook.com. meant that we had this problem. But how can we fix that? Well, supposing instead we actually make things more interoperable. Suppose we have a global single sign-on. So you sign on, just at the moment you have to pick whether you sign on with Facebook or Google. Supposing you sign on with anything solid compatible, and whichever solid ID you signed on with, that will be your ID all over the whole net. Supposing we have authorization so that I can break out say, okay, that Facebook group actually now is going to, in the future designs, it's going to be a first class object. It'll have a URL. I can share anything in my world with that group or with anybody else. So globalized, standardized authorization. And then if you have a universal API, this third part of sort of Web 3.0 means that when you talk to a store, instead of using the Twitter API or the Facebook API, you use a universal API where you're writing into a blank sheet of paper, and you're writing a graph into it. When you write a graph into it, when you think of, at the moment you write JSON objects and things into your stores, but if you're thinking about writing JSON tree, actually you could think of that tree as graph. You can store that as graph, and with this universal API, you can store a graph in any store without having previously agreed with the store. So, okay, now the web stack, your REST API, and the business logic. You put a little bit of awareness about the person that includes whether they're vaccinated or not, and then the database table, one column that you add to are they vaccinated. And then you have to roll all that, the front end and the back end together, so that there's no confusion between front ends that don't know about vaccination and back ends that don't, and so on. So with Solid, then it's changed because you've got a generic store you're writing data into. The core doesn't care anything about the application. So the business model logic typically moves up into the browser. And then when you change it, the storage does a constant, the storage does a commodity backend. And so now we've got the Solid protocol. What's neat about it is much more powerful. The web platform, including Solid, has got more stuff in it. It's got login, it's got Solid login and authentication. So you should, when you make your app, you can pull in a login box and let people log in with Solid, and that's kind of done. So when you're making an app to register something, you've already got the social bit, you've already got people that log in, you can pull in the Solid profile data. And so so now what we need to do is use the Solid platform to do all the basic stuff. So the challenge now will be application level standards, so like we've taken vCard and say what's the equivalent of vCard in a pod? What's it for contacts and so on, and so basically got a big challenge, lots of work to do, and from the point of view of stability, I'd say each of these applications says that's just a selection. There are hundreds, there's all kinds of different bits of healthcare and so on. So each of those applications standards is going to have to take work, and people mapping ends under it, and there's a lot of work to be done. But the Solid protocol itself is stable because I know that I'm trusting the store, the Solid pod, I can trust, and then I can trust apps, give them my data, and those apps, and so now there's a market for different apps. So I can use, maybe that on the left is an open source app I use, but then when I want to do complicated things, then I pay money, I buy or rent or contribute to a closed source app, but they're all compatible, so I can switch between them. Here's one for recipes. It pulls data from the New York Times recipe book place it uses, which has got a lot of data built into it. We have a Solid operating system, which is kind of very early researchy thing. There's my profile on it. There's some chat. The Solid ecosystem, in fact, this is the sort of more or less a transcription of a whiteboard I had at my MIT office for the Solid project for a long time, and we realized there's a lot of stuff. Flipping the world to using this ecosystem, there's all kinds of services we need. A data services company, a pod provider, like you have an ISP which you change from time to time and provides you with connectivity, and this data provider provides you with a pod. And you can switch, you have one pods, you have stuff copied into several pods, but Athumi is the company which has rolled this out. Then you might, obviously other people are concerned about whether you can control it. And so I'm just saying, if you're building a sort of ChatGPT-like platform, please make sure that you sandbox your thing. That you see, yes, it's not crazy, it's sci-fi, but actually we're in a world of sci-fi with ChatGPT already. So yeah, we have to worry about things getting out of quality. If people say, don't worry, we can design a structure around, we can build wind up like this. It takes information from the whole web, puts it into a large language model, and then some large company controls it, configures it, and allows you to interact with it. And all of your interactions with it, all the outputs and that goes back to that large company. So, and you're warned, don't talk about something really private things, or it will go back into the model. Though we, the company running this LLM, reserve the right to use that information for whatever we like. Put it back in there and make it, your ideas may get offered to somebody else. This is not a private session. This is a kind of weird situation where you're in fact feeling you're providing, you're working for the big company, helping the LLM learn more stuff. But we could rewire it, actually. Supposing we have a space, we have a solid pod which is mine to control. I have my personal data in it. The LLM gets the original model from the big web crawl, but then we fine-tune it with my personal data. And so when I interact with it, the LLM outputs mine. Nobody else gets to see what my discussion with GPT. So now it's giving much better insights. So so I'm an AI that works for me. Is not crazy. I mean, Siri, who do you work for? I work for Apple. Alexa, who do you work for? Obviously, you work for us. Why can't AI work for me? Actually, I wrote about this 5 years ago. So that power that you have as developers is really, really important. With solid protocol, so learn about solid protocol, teach people about solid protocol. With solid protocol, you can build things which are beneficent. You can build apps which actually help people instead of trying to distract.
That free that we often see things like blockchain, metaverse, and all of these things. But actually, as in your definition, it is basically something totally different. Maybe you can say a couple of words about how you really see the Web3 thing, and what is your opinion on the other Web3 definition?
In this blog said, we're going to do the social networking on Unstoppable or Ethereum, we're calling the project Web3. That was not very helpful. And so then people sort of seized on this and said anything with blockchain, like we'll call it Web3, this short and snappy font, to a certain extent, they've had this appeal of a fine new future. But based on blockchain, they didn't call it, if they called it blockchain 3, that would have meant people would have been a whole lot less confused. Wouldn't have to spend a few minutes in every conference saying, no, Web 3.0 actually is not blockchain. And blockchain is not the web. Blockchain, so the thing people call Web 3, the blockchain based, there are various things that they've tried. Moxie Marlin's my guy who made Telegram had a go at building just a decentralized social app on top of blockchain, and he found lots of reasons why actually it doesn't work. Blockchain's public. If you put your income in there, you get some medical data from your blockchain. You put it in a solid pod, it's got to be by default. Blockchain, you put it on blockchain, it's public, even if you can encrypt it, but everybody knows that you've done that transaction. So it's public, it's slow, it's made to be expensive deliberately. So really, if you're trying to build apps like the solid apps on top of blockchain, it doesn't work. So it's just a shame that they called it Web 3. Web 3.0 solid protocol is not blockchain.
Yeah, it's an interesting take on that, so thank you for that. When we talk about all of these topics, what we see is we don't talk anymore so much only about the technology behind and the software development and the coding itself, but there are topics like ethics, social responsibility, and all of these things becoming more and more important also for software developers, for all technologists. Especially now we have the rise of AI solutions going public and so on and so on. So what is your take on that? I mean, obviously Solid is a project that pays into that narrative that owning your own data is very important. And so this whole ethics and security and privacy.
the ethical issues, there's the human rights issues, if you like. My ability to be a sovereign individual on the internet. So to be able to express myself, to be able to keep my private data private, to be able to communicate with whoever I want. So that's basically solidly grounded on ethical principles. And one of them is beneficent doubt, as I mentioned. So if you're making your own, the decisions that you're making, are they for the user? Are you trying to make it so this app, if you were using it yourself, it will do all the things that you would want? Or are you actually trying to distract the user to go and buy a car instead of finishing their own work? So I think a lot of developers end up realizing, wait a minute, what I'm doing isn't helping my users. It's helping the advertising system. It's helping them with my advertising, all the clickbait that I produce from my ad. So if you find yourself like, don't stop doing that. Get another job. Go and work in the ecosystem building apps which are beneficent.
Yeah, it's horrible the whole clickbait thing in a sense.